Mike, as I shared with you, I've known Mike known you a long time, and you are a lot younger than me, though. How old are you?
63.
My Lord, Mike.
I just look younger.
You're just a baby. I mean, how in the world? So, are you signed up on your Social Security?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's wisdom, ain't it? I signed up on mine at 62. I figured the health I'm in and the way I live, I'm going to get it as quick as I can.
Right. There's no guarantee, right?
I don't want to leave in it.
Yeah.
Let them get their own money, the way I figured. I want to get mine out quick as I can. Get that Social Security out there and draw it. How'd you feel when you drew your first check? I felt like a king.
Absolutely.
I thought, man, how does anybody need more money than this? I mean, that's pretty good money.
I remember my first Saturday off. I mean, what do you do on Saturdays off?
Yeah.
I don't even know what to do.
I just getting that. I remember when Dad got his, had to get his own checkings account, started drawing that Social Security, buddy. He was absolutely. This is what I found with getting that Social Security. The first time you get it, you think, man, that's a lot of money. Next time you get it, you think, boy, that's really something. Did my check come in? And then the next time or two, you think you forget you even got it because it's already spent somehow.
Yeah.
It works out when you do that. But Mike, I'm thinking about these books and these things, and we'll get in this just a little bit if we can. But we think about these books and what you're working on here. And if anybody gets a chance to go, you got some on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and all kinds of books and things like that. And it's just it's really cool, man. What you do. Dwayne talks about it a lot too. Because he's an avid reader. Dwayne is.
Yeah.
And he really does. But tell us something. Let's talk about these books right here first.
Well, in this stack right here, I put the Christian books.
Mm-hmm.
These are all a message that I preached at one time.
Right.
That I decided to bring the message to life. Anything can have life if you just manifest it.
Uh-huh.
And the first one is The Crowded Sea. I actually wrote a song about this. This is about a young girl who was raised in a private school and homeschooled, and when she had to go to public school, she just stood out. She was so different, and that's the theme of the song was, as I am different, and I know I'm different, and they say I'm different. And The Crowded Sea, it brings in the fact that where Peter, when he walked out on the ocean going toward Jesus, the thing that made Peter sink was he heard the voices of the ocean, of the wind, telling him, you're not like us. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be out on this water. And it seemed like that's a lot of times that's what we go through in life today is we look around and we're not like the people at Walmart. We're not, I went to a ball game one time and somebody said a bad word beside my wife and I was ready to fight. Yeah. You're not supposed to do that. And then later on I got to thinking, wait a minute. Yeah. I was in their ocean. I was in their sea, and that's just what they do there. And the best thing I could have done was kept my mouth shut, And when she realized that everything was different around her, and then she realized the best thing that she could ever do was just serve God. And lapdog mentality was a message I preached, how that the Christian world today has become like lapdogs. We just want to sit into the lap of the pastor and have the pastor to pet on us and tell us it's okay. And if anybody else gets near the pastor, we're going to growl at them. And and we lost all of our senses. We don't know how to hunt. We don't know how to do anything to take care of ourselves. And without the master or the owners feeding us constantly, we'll starve to death.
Well, all right. Let's talk about, I notice here these books get a little. This one was awful thick. You must have been long-winded when you got to this when you preached this one.
I did, yeah.
Okay,
I've become Pentecostal when I got to that one.
Let me ask you something about ministering. Do you think, as you get older, now not everybody does, but me. Okay, I do this. When I share and when I minister, I'm a 28 minute minister. A lot of people want you to preach an hour and a half, and really they just don't have nothing to do at home. Okay. But I find myself wanting to get to the point. And when I talk to people sometimes, nice people that don't get to the point when you're talking to them, it drives me a little crazy, okay? And it's not their fault, okay? It's my fault. And I say that in order to be nice. I'm really thinking it's all their fault. But I think sometimes when we're talking to people and when we're in the pulpit, if people would let you get to the point, I mean, Jesus, when I read his ministry and I look at his ministry, it wasn't an hour and a half ministry. It wasn't out like he's preaching an hour or something. I mean, when he would teach or something, it wasn't that. I think I found 15 times that Jesus in the Bible that he actually ministered to the crowd and to people. But when you think about those things in our life, if we can get to the point with people, if we could actually have people we could get to the point with in the congregation, how much, instead of having to ease them into it, what do you think about that?
My Aunt Mary Hagerman, she was my pastor at the time, and she said one time, I'd much rather hear an hour-long message in 30 minutes than a 30-minute message in an hour. And like you said, just get to the point.
Right. And I think if we can share what God has gave us and get it done and share with people. I mean, so many times in life thinking, I attempted to walk on water one time in my life. I'd been back in the mountains with the Indians for a couple weeks, and I'd hiked down to the Gulf of Mexico. I had to come down out of the mountains and I went down to the Gulf. I got down there and I looked at that water, and I was pretty hefty in my faith, and I said, I'm going out there. I'm doing it. Prayed, spoke in tongues a little bit, shook all over, started right out there and sunk. So I backed up and I repented of a few things that I happened to remember, and I said, well, I'm going to attempt this again, and Lord, if you're with me, I'm your man, and I can do this. And Peter done it, and he was just a man. And so I took off again. God spoke in tongues a little, shook a little, held my hands up, sunk again.
Yeah.
I got back up there and I said, now, Lord, how have I failed you? I mean, Peter done this. And he spoke to me just as plain as we're sitting here. He said, why do you keep rolling your britcher legs up? I was preparing to fail.
Yeah.
Okay? And I rolled my pants down and went on about my business and didn't try it again. But I'm thinking so many times in life we prepare to fail instead of to win. And we sort of in preparation to fail.
Right.
And we think, I'm just ready to miss it. And I think we can be in all kinds of walks of life and still do that, and the levels of faith and places we're at. My dream car is a Chevrolet Spark, okay? I had one and I loved it. I just loved that car. Put 80,000 miles on it, loved it. But the transmissions don't hold up. And CVC transmissions start jerking a little, and that's why they quit making them, I guess. But anyway, I want another one. But I'm going to get one standard shift this time, 5-speed. So I get text messages all the time from Carfax, Carvana, Car Everybody, CarMax, showing me where it is.
Right.
And I look, and Janice tells me, go get that car if you want that car. I said, no. I don't want to go in debt. I don't want to spend no money. I'm trying to be careful and be thrifty. And, we only got X amount of dollars a month, and I want to be careful. But see, instead of thinking, surely I can afford $200 a month to get me a Chevrolet Spark. But it don't matter where you're at in life, that's still a constant battle. What do you think about that?
I think you're right.
Yeah. I think we got to be prepared to win. And if we get ready to win, and half the battle is that preparation of faith. And when we think I'm going to take myself and I'm going to look at my life and I'm ready to win, ready to do good. It's like sort of, there's a sense of us as humans waiting on things to go bad when things are going good.
Yeah.
And that can be a catastrophe, always waiting on it. When you think about your personal journey, Mike, and I know where you're from and where you come from, and I know bulk of your life. I mean, what are some things in this journey that have really influenced you and just situations that have influenced your life and brought you to this point? Because, man, when you look at what you're doing here, this is great. This is something that will outlive you, okay, and me.
Right.
And this is history
And that's the
in the
purpose.
making.
Yeah.
So what are some things that have influenced you?
But I was always a different type of kid. I was the kid that didn't, if I had an opportunity to either sit and listen to the older people talk or play with the younger people, I was listening to the older people. And I was the quiet, one, something's wrong with that guy.
How come you pointed at me when you said older people, you pointed at me?
You was young then, too. I still remember you from high school.
I'm just kidding.
So we're pretty close.
Older people, if that's okay. It's okay. I can take it. Go
But
ahead.
I wanted to listen to them.
Right.
And I heard every story that they all had to say. And the thing about my dad didn't tell a story one time. He told it over and over and over. And my dad didn't just tell it, but he acted it out. And
Right.
and what I wanted to do is all these things that my children don't know about, and the grandchildren, the nephews, the nieces, they don't know this stuff. So I want to put it down in word. And all these years, that, I never spoke a lot, but I listened.
Right.
And like I say, I was always the quiet one, but I retained these words, and now I want to, put them down on paper and let them come to life and manifest in other people's lives. Where, like I said, if you buy one of these books, and I have given away a lot more than I've sold. I've given away hundreds and hundreds of these books. If you can't afford a book, I'll give you one. And even if you can't afford a book and you don't want to buy it, I'll still give you one. And my purpose is just to get these stories out to people and let them know about them. Right. And like I told them, I said, not only will you know this, but this book, generations from now, people can still read this and hear these same stories. Yeah. I got one book that's got about close to 30 different stories of Shop Hollow in it. A lot right there on what they call one of the most feared places in the Hollow was Dash Hill. It was named after your family, And
well, I think about what you're saying. I think about I've tried to archive ministers over the years, and I have got ministers that have been dead for a long time. I mean, Danny Reynolds. Who could not know Danny Reynolds, when you think about Big Danny. Right. I mean, and way more about music, but I think it's about 3 chords on the guitar, 2 chords,
Two's what he played.
He could play, and it was the same strumming all. Yeah, but I mean, think about him. And I got videos of him, and every once in a while I put them up. I put them on. Yeah. Okay, there's people that I've got that have come, and I think about Hazel Click. Okay, I
never
think
be
about
anybody like her again.
See, I think about people like that. I mean, she could put us all under conviction. Okay, I mean, I had a speaker on her car. Would drive up and down the road with a PA speaker hooked on a CB radio, preaching on it. Okay. I mean, there's just, when I think about, and I've tried to archive those ministers and play them. My dad been dead 3 years. I still play his programs. There's L.H. Connors who come to war, H. Richard Hall. When I look at history and I think about these people, this is history. And will anybody after me? Probably not, okay, because there is a cycle of time you go through, and I understand that. But I mean, I think about those things. Betty Jean Robinson, who's gone to be with the Lord now. I mean, I seen where her estate, here a lady is, a forerunner, I believe, in the gospel music, and has gone to be with the Lord. And she would call me usually at least every other week. Betty Jean would call me on the phone just to talk to me. And she said, John, the reason I call you is you always answer. And I called, and I went to a station and got her videos out of a dumpster. They were throwing her videos away after her program. They took her program off of TBN, and years ago, and got them and kept those. And Connie made those digital, and we play those all over the country every week. And even though she's gone to be with the Lord,
wonderful lady.
History, okay, and you don't know history's history when you're making it. And I've got a picture of me and her and Bob Smallwood standing outside in front of the studio out here, and I think about those. I think about those things in our life, and I think the history, and it's important. It's really important. And I talk about it sometimes. There's I shared this, and give me your thoughts on this. I shared this. I believe you have to have markers in life, okay, and their life is about chapters, but you have to have markers. Every Christmas we join together at the house. Okay, we try to do it religiously. Everybody comes in my little 800 square foot house, and we have ourselves a time. Right. Knock down, drag out, push the couch back. We just have ourselves a time. Thanksgiving, we gather. 4th of July, we gather. And 3 times a year is enough, okay? But we gather everybody together. Right. And I count that as a marker, okay? And because if you don't have markers in your life will just go by. It'll just drift past you. But you have to make markers happen. You've got to make them things happen. They won't just happen. And I was thinking about that after everybody left on Christmas the other night. I mean, Janice goes at it like a machine. But I think we're clearing all them white tables out of the living room, put them back
Right.
on the porch, push the couch back in, sweeping them up on the floor, washing the dishes and getting everything done. It takes work to make those markers.
Right.
But you got to make them happen. What are some things in your life when you think about markers in your life?
We did the same thing as long as my mom was alive. All the family went to her house, and she made punch, and we exchanged some gifts, and it's things that we'll never forget. Mm-hmm. When you look back in your childhood, there's a special feelings you had whenever that happened, that came on you, and
right.
and when you remember those, you remember those feelings that you had then.
Yeah. What are some things when you think about y'all going and having a punch? What are some things that you guys did that stand out in your mind?
One of the funny things is she would make certain cookies and things that were for Santa.
Yeah.
And we'd get up in the mornings and they were gone. So Santa must have came, right? He must have showed up because we didn't get the cookies and the cake. And
yeah.
It was always gone the next day.
Yeah, I think about you think about that stuff. It stands out in your mind. Memories, you don't know memories are memories when you're making them. You think it's just normal life, ain't it? But you have to make it stuff happen, Mike. And I think it's up to us, especially men our age, and our position in our families, to make those things happen, because it's easier just to let life go on. Okay, it's easier just to let life keep going,
right?
Instead of making a point. And I try to call my family that I've got. I try to call them up, and because I want to. And I had I was thinking about my cousin's daughter the other day, Jordan, and Lynn's daughter, and I really like Jordan.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I really like her, and she has went to college, and she's working here locally and doing some things, and I got thinking, I said, I have never called her or messaged her and just told her how much I appreciate her and how proud I am of her, and I made points to do those things, and I did, and I meant it. And we have to make a point, I believe, as we talk about. I believe that's part of this heart that we're supposed to have. It has to melt and do those things. And I try my best because I'm a little bit rough around the edges. And I try to be careful with that and not lean toward that man. Yeah. But I don't know. I think about it. What are some things now? I know you're working on your books, okay? I know this is a big thing. Again, I stress with people, they can get you on Facebook. They can find these on Amazon, and I know that's important, and I know this is a big project. Is there any other projects or anything else that you got going on right now?
Actually, it's been, a year and a half ago, I decided I wanted to take my stories and animate them, and I come up with the idea of how, and so I approached several people and asked them to help me, and they all, we don't know how to do that, so I watched enough YouTube videos till I figured it out myself, so I've now have YouTube with animated cartoons on it. Series that I wrote myself and completely. One is called Annabelle, and there's I think 6 different Annabelle cartoons. Annabelle's my dog, and Annabelle does all these different adventures, and I animated those, and then I do the cooking on YouTube and different things like that, and songs. I've written several songs, and the books, to write a book, it takes several months of research. You to write a historically accurate book. Several of the books I've written, some were either from messages that I preached or dreams that I had. I have realistic dreams. If you could just sit back and watch some of my dreams, you would be so excited. What's going on here. But I had a dream one time. A guy was in a couple was driving down a back road. And all of a sudden, the music on their old 57 Chevrolet started playing 1950s music, Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
And then up ahead, they seen a sign, and I'm seeing this in my dream. They seen a sign that said "Welcome," and the right leg of the W just falls off, and it creates an N, and becomes the word Nelcom, and a voice said, "Welcome to Nelcom, where you're almost welcome."
Okay.
And I seen the entire movie in my dream, and then I wrote all that down and created a book out of it. And it's probably my most popular book that I've ever written right now.
I think that being creative, like you are, is so cool, man. Now, I'm not creative, okay? I'm a beige and black type of guy. Now, I've always wanted to write a book for years, and I've never got done it. I've done some little outlines called Beach Hill Boys, growing up with Tim Boyd and Joseph Zauler and Kenneth Wagner and all of us growing up on Beach Hill.
Yeah.
And the things that we used to do, we would sleigh ride. You know what I mean? That was a big thing to sleigh ride. You know, we would sleigh ride and build buggies and ride them off the hill.
Everything is uphill or downhill there, wasn't it?
I mean, it was it. I mean, it was just the way it was.
No level.
I mean, so you're thinking about things, you know, I've thought about it, and, you know, I think about things as go along. But I think it's important to be where your passions are. And when you seem like you have concentrated on what's your passion, and then you're effective. You know, and I several years ago, I made some commitments and changed some things in my life that made me start to concentrate on specific areas, like the media ministry. To me, right now, I've done 90 of these interviews, okay, with people all over the country.
Yeah.
And I think it's history, okay? I think that what you've been through in your life and the things and your thoughts and your passions and these things, I feel like the transfer of information is one of the most is important to me.
Yeah.
And that's what a book's about, the transfer of information.
And it's a crime to lose it.
It is.
The lost information, that even from our immediate ancestors,
Right.
is amazing. The things that I'm studying my family history now, the things that I've found out about my family history just here in this country since the 1650s,
Right.
when my first ancestor came over here, is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like this guy, this great 5-6 times back grandfather
Right.
should have been in the history books. The things that he done. And, you know, I got an ancestor that lived next door to Abraham Lincoln,
Yeah.
and fought in the Revolutionary War with him. And you might say, well, no, he's not that old. Well, it was his grandfather,
Right.
who's by the same name, and you know, he lived next door to him, was best friends with him, and I'm finding out all this information that's just amazing me, and stuff that my dad didn't know, because he didn't have the ability to research these documents and find this stuff out.
Yeah. You know, we found out what Kelsey traced back when we came from Germany, and the boat landed in Maryland, and you know how my great-great-grandfather was on there, John Henry Dash, and how he was on there. And his father died on the boat on the way over.
Wow.
And then his brother, I best I can remember the way Kelsey began to explain to me, but, you know, his brother had took his mom and children. And it's very interesting when you think about the history of those things. And a lot of my history, and I know yours may not be as bad as mine, has a lot of outlaws, okay, and people that have, you know, they've been through some things, okay? And I thank God that through the generations that started to change.
Right.
It changed some in our life because we always have that stuff go on. And we have things that happen and I don't know, I think, let's talk about this just a second. Let's talk about, if you think about in your life today and what you're doing and things you're doing, what are some challenges overall, outside of writing the books, in your heart, in your life? If you had to look at, you said today, I've got a challenge that I'm working on in my life. I've got something I'm really pushing on.
Well, I suppose everybody has the same challenges, I guess, you know, health-wise, our bills, you know, we all face all that, you know, the changing world that we see around us changing so rapidly. And, you know, and I watch Cooking with John just about every day, and I'm not sorry, I mean Breakfast with John about every day. And I understand that you see the same challenges. There's some crazy people out there.
Nuts.
And they are multiplying faster than what I consider us sane people are. And it's a challenge every single day. And you want to get mad and you want to scream and then you try to fight it back, you know, just you hold your peace. Like you say, you rough around the edges, so you got to kind of control that just a little bit.
Well, you know, I run into that. I've had a renter a while back. Recently, I had a little issue out of, and I don't like rental property, but my dad blessed me to take care of my mom's rental property, which thank you, Dad, for that. That was been a real mechanical nightmare. But I'm doing it anyway. But a renter that was a little bit of an issue, and I thought to myself, I'm going to go over there and just slap him good, whoop him out in the road. And I could do that. And I said, you know, then I said, I'm going to give it a day.
Yeah.
You know, and I still got to go see him. But I'm thinking, but there's a part of you that's still right. See, I believe I can loose myself to feel and think however I want to.
Yeah.
It's what I do that it gets me in trouble or keeps everything okay. See, I think you can feel like slapping somebody. I think you can feel like all kinds of things in your life, okay? But it's what you actually do in the end of that thing. And when we feel, listen, man, I feel like being skinny, but I ain't.
Right.
But you feel things, okay? But what you actually do, and I think that's a challenge that you touched on, this emotion that we have to control, to bridle our tongue and to bring those emotions under control.
Do you ever look in the mirror and just surprise you and think, that's not me. I don't feel like I look like that.
Janice said that the other day. She said, I forget how she worded it anyway. She said, she looked in the mirror and said, who is that? But the other day, let me tell you what happened. So, I go to the doctor regular because I keep my checkups. Because I think that's crazy not to. Because the old mentality was, well, if you don't know what's wrong, my dad said, and he could have lived to be 120, but he just wouldn't do things, wouldn't take care of himself, wouldn't do things. But he wouldn't even go, had a stroke, and anyway, 10 years, still wouldn't go to any kind of therapy, do anything. But I go. I go my 6-month checkup, get my blood test done. I'm big on all. I get a colonoscopy next week. I watch things. My eyes, I've got 20/25 vision for some reason. Anyway, I went to the doctor the other day and I lost 6 pounds. Don't know how.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how. And but I knew when I come home and told Janice she was going to be mad because she exercises like a machine every morning. Every morning she's on that. We got one of those trampolines in the living room and a treadmill, and she goes miles and miles and does all that, and says she don't never lose no weight. And I lost 6 pounds by accident. And I laugh at it. I told her I come home and I said the doctor gave me some bad news, honey. Well, what is it? And I said, I'm losing weight so fast that they're getting worried about me. And I said, I'm scared none of my blue jeans are going to fit, and I'm just going to be all skinny, and the wind will blow me across the parking lot. She does
That's waste money on
So
the
there's a challenge, all right? There's a challenge. But I think the challenge in us, and when you talk about health, I think that's our most valuable asset, and we take it for granted. What do you think?
I think you're right.
Yeah, health. Yeah. We take it we think it like it's nothing.
You was talking about being rough around the edges. God blessed me with something that made me mad for years, and I couldn't get mad fast. People could do something to me, and I wouldn't get mad about it, and it would take me a while, and people think, well, he's weak or something, but a day or two later, I'd think about it, then I'd get mad. But it'd be too late. Right. Well, it'd be kind of embarrassing to say something now because we already got over it. We made up and everything, but now I'm mad, but it's too late to be mad. And it would take me a while to get mad about things. But you was talking about your dad, and I use your dad for this example a lot. You might see him a little different because he's your father. But I've always said it is impossible to be around your father and not be happy. It's something about